Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us, podcastevolved@gmail.com, or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Floodgate mission from Halo 3 on the next episode. This episode, we're debriefing the Storm mission from Halo 3. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krysta Brown.
What has 4 legs and dies when you punch it in the anus?
Cat?
Ooh.
How dare you? How
Last
dare you
mission.
insult my people?
Last mission, Savo Highway. Chief dusted himself off after another crash landing, this time at the bottom of the UNSC bunker's elevator shaft. John 117 immediately teamed up with the surviving Marines, and the soldiers rolled out on warthogs to carve through the Covenant resistance amidst the collapsed New Mombasa space elevator wreckage. After outgunning or outrunning a slew of brute choppers and Wraiths, Chief received orders to start the assault on the dig site at Voy. This mission, this is it. This is the assault. Chief and the UNSC Marines must clear out the Covenant's anti-air defenses in order to begin the final assault on the Prophet of Truth's Dreadnought. With the fate of humanity on the line, Chief manages to take out multiple Wraiths, a Scarab, and an anti-aircraft cannon to clear the way for Lord Hood's fleet. The date of the game, November 17th, 2552. It's been a long day. He
He's had quite the day.
Yeah, we've talked about this in CE and Halo 2. Like, there's so much that just happens. Like, no breaks for Chief. No breaks.
No. And there's even less breaks if you read the books that kind of, like, fill in the lore between games.
Mm-hmm. But I think we're kind of getting towards the end of the day. He's, he's at least gets to have a little warthog ride into the next mission, into Voy. What do you guys think of the kind of the mood that they set at the beginning of this mission? Krysta, how are you? Like, are you feeling pumped up? Are you feeling like this is the last stand, or where are you at with this?
I love this mission, but it doesn't really build up exactly, the brevity of the situation or the importance of what's going on and what you have to do. I feel because it's there's not really a big cutscene into this. It's mostly just Miranda telling you what you need to do. Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, Lord Hood told me you should blow up stuff. And you're like, oh, okay, that's what I've been doing this whole time.
Yeah, that's
so.
True.
I think that the assault on Truth's ship is a little downplayed in this. I think they don't mention it enough, and when they do, it's more of in passing than anything else.
Well, they talk about the plan. They talked about that in Crow's Nest, right? The beginning of that mission.
Yeah, but that was for us, it's a long time ago. But even when you're playing through the game, so much has happened between that intro cutscene and all the way over here that it's like, we kind of need we need a refresher of how bad things are.
You need
things
a blur
don't
cutscene?
look as bad.
Is that what you need? You need a blur cutscene in your life?
More blur cutscenes,
No.
please. I'd like 100% more blur cutscenes.
Boo.
I mean, something that I found really interesting when I was playing some of these games through with one of my friends who's never played it is she didn't realize that we were losing the war with the Covenant until I told her. Because when you're playing as Chief, you're winning all the time.
Well, yeah, but I feel like this mission starts, it is somber to a degree, and it's raining, and like kind of the slow intro into this, and you don't have a whole lot of forces with you. I mean, if you're paying attention, you know the plan, or you're playing through a second time, you kind of know the plan. But I think that's kind of the mood that they're trying to go for, rather than doing like this big raw moment, because it's not the end of the game, obviously. It's a very important stand.
They should make it feel like the end of the game, though, because if this succeeds, technically the war is over.
Right. Yeah. David, any thoughts?
Yeah, it probably does need a bigger build-up, and I think they don't do a good job of explaining to you the situation as it is. In terms of, like, I didn't know for a long time that, like, this mission takes place months after, like the Covenant have occupied this area of Earth for a significant period of time.
It's about a month. Yeah.
Is it about a month?
They've been here for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've been digging up, and that's kind of not really meant. And that period of time isn't really explored. I mean, there's still fighting in space happening a month later. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Lord Hood is still up there, and do you know what I mean? There's still a lot happening around the world, and it's kind of mental to think that this is a month-long war happening on Earth, and none of that's really, you don't get any of that in this game.
Mm-hmm.
You just get the very kind of brief, like you said, go here, blow up thing, video game. You're like, okay.
And that just might
Right.
be a testament for the game not being updated since 2007. I think what made Halo 2 feel a lot more epic is just because the cutscenes got redone and everything looks a lot nicer. You know, sky battles look a lot more fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just Halo 3 really showing its age.
Well, I think like and even like the sound was redone too in Halo 2.
Yeah,
which
make it sound
like
really good.
you know, if they even added that layer on top and it, like you said, kind of had that additional like the anniversary treatment, I don't think we're gonna get that, and that's fine. But it probably would have helped make this whole moment
No, I don't
very
want
important moment. What's
well,
that?
I mean,
I don't really want the Halo 3 anniversary, to be honest.
Yeah, I haven't. I
like
agree
it.
with you, but now playing this again, I was like, I wouldn't mind it. You know,
well,
I mean, I don't. Go
at
ahead.
this point, like, Halo 3 is the most outdated of the games. All the other games have been updated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Of the trilogy. Yeah.
Of the trilogy. Well, I mean,
Reach is-
Halo 4 doesn't really need an update. That was 2012, and Halo 5 definitely doesn't need one
Right.
at this moment. This was 2007. It was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, let's get into the actual mission here. So we have this kind of slow. We're rolling in with the warthogs. We know Miranda pops on the comms, as you mentioned, Krysta. She says, "Chief, the Prophet of Truth has found the Ark. Our only chance of stopping him is a surprise aerial assault. Clear the sector of Covenant anti-air defenses. Make a hole for the Admiral's ships. Good hunting. Keys out." And that was kind of the plan they talked about in Crow's Nest. So, and that's pretty much exactly what we do. There's the atmospheric, there's the little raindrops and that are going on throughout the entire mission. And where is this? Like, what's going on here? Like, from an environment standpoint, I've heard them talk about like lake bed at some point.
Yeah, you are, surprise, surprise, you're still in Africa. You're in between the city of Voi and another city called, I have the name of it there, because they made it interesting about the fact that you're still the bridge. Russia. So, yeah,
Yep.
Russia. So, despite it, this is kind of just one of the little bit of trivia that despite entering the city from the southeastern edge, the turn off to Russia calls for a right turn, when in reality the city of Russia is on the other side of Kilimanjaro with respect to Voi. So this would be the logical place to turn off to the player's left. So you're still off Kilimanjaro, you're in the middle of Africa, the kind of heart of it, as it were. And that's kind of where you are, you're still there.
And so what about the lake bed thing? So it does
Yeah.
feel like, as we get into the mission, it does feel like you're like in some mud eventually.
Yeah, there is a little bit of kind of a coast, and it looks kind of like you see a lot of structures that look like they should exist on or beside water. If you know what I mean, in terms of it being drained, and that kind of makes sense when you think of the massive scale of excavation that's been going on for this month. So I imagine that like the lake bed, this area has been drained of water, or maybe even boiled off, depending on the strength of the excavation beams being used.
No, that's true. That makes sense. And we've talked about it a little bit off and on.
Or it could be an ancient lake bed. It could have been totally dried out way before then. I'm not 100% sure, but I imagine it's because of the excavation work.
We've talked about it a little before, and you know, as we mentioned earlier, we're losing. But the fact that the Covenant didn't just glass Earth and just win the war right here is because they wanted to exterminate the humans, but the humans' planet, you know, Earth, is where this artifact is where the Ark. So they couldn't just glass the entire planet and kill everybody. They needed to do what they're doing now, is excavating this and using this for their great journey.
Yeah, and what you also have to remember is that they don't have anywhere near the amount of ships required to glass or fuel or ammunition, because Truth's force is way smaller than it should have been. Or even so, because when Regret came to Earth first, he didn't know he was coming to Earth, quote unquote. So like the Covenant forces are not the strength.
They didn't know there would be humans here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and plus they don't have high charity.
Yeah.
I don't think they need
Halo 2.
Yeah, I don't think they don't need high. Oh, that's true. Actually, they don't need it to glass, but I imagine they lost a significant portion of their fleet.
Yeah.
In the home world,
Yeah.
losing high charge.
So a lot of things have gone right for humanity. A lot of things have gone wrong for the Covenant. In order to the humans are still surviving because all this other stuff has happened.
Yeah, we're at the breaking point here. So I don't and you have to remember as well that the Brutes and Thingy, there's a split, and right now there's a civil war going on in the Covenant. So
That's
they're fighting on all kinds of fronts. So you imagine it's quite difficult to maintain a fleet, let's say, or do you know what I mean, an empire, and you're warring with yourself.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now you say that. So they have that going on. They had the flood take over High Charity. There's some stuff that happened in one of the books where they lost a huge fleet. Like, everything's going wrong for the Covenant.
Yeah.
But they've still found their ultimate goal, and they're more or less winning that too. And that's kind of where we're picking up, is like, okay, this is the last chance here. Let's the dig is almost done here. We need to try to punch a hole into the defenses and try to get to that dreadnought. So this mission is the beginning of that assault, and we kind of roll up to this initial door here, and I think it's one of the gunneries that we've seen already. That gives you a little. I think it's Nathan Fillion's voice again. Kind of gives you a little rah rah, like, all right, we got the 50 on your back. Head on in.
And fun note about that. When the player leaves Lake Bed A, is what it's called, and enters the area with the Marines and the machine gun, a female Marine cries, "We'll nail them with the 50." However, the gun that the Marine is using is an AIE 486H heavy machine gun, which in fact uses 7.62 by 51mm ammunition, or LS ammunition. So it's not 50 cal. Is kind of the point I was getting at.
Gotcha.
So I know that's probably just vernacular that a gamer
Machine
would understand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like someone who isn't military based would not know that.
Plus, it just sounds badass.
Definitely it does. Everyone knows that 50 cal. Get the 50 out. I mean, everyone knows 50 cal is badass. So you say it like.
So it sounds like it's either Sergeant Reynolds or Sergeant Stacker, who we talked about in the last mission, that kind of has this dialogue here. And then we kind of start our assault through this building here, and there's not a lot going on. There's like some dead Marines right away. You can kind of do a little bit of wandering around, and then eventually what you need to do is you need to get over and around, or kind of off to the side and around, and get the door open so that the rest of your Marines can drive their warthogs inside. Not a whole lot going on in here. I mean, from like an approach standpoint, like kind of the next part is the big deal. But
I love it though.
It's a cool little intro or initial part of this mission.
It's a different way of fighting, which I really liked, in terms of you're with a force and you're progressively moving through, clearing checkpoints and areas, using Marines to capture and hold. I mean, I think it's cool. And when you break it down, like, you can solo it, of course. You don't need all of this. You're Master Chief. But it's cool to bring the Marines with you and to help them fight. They can be quite useful, especially when they do use the Warthog. Okay, it's AI driven, which we all know is terrible, but it's cool. It's cool to see it roll through areas in this wreck shop.
I do want to mention here too, just because you mentioned Chief, we're obviously Chief, but there are a bunch of other Spartans. Well, not a bunch, but Spartans have kind of dwindled off over the course of the war, and there are some still around, but they're not here. So Chief is kind of like the last Spartan that we know of, or at least this force knows of, and then he's the kind of the rallying point for everybody, and he's clearly he's a badass, right? He's got the luck factor, but
and he's made his name at the point too. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, the events of the previous two games were pretty well known.
Yeah, exactly, and we're reliant on this super soldier. The fact that we keep saying we humans have this super soldier. If we didn't have this super soldiers, the Spartans, we wouldn't have had a chance in any of this. So we need, he's kind of our last hope, and he's helping lead the charge. So let's kind of get through this area, unless you guys have anything you want to talk about before we kind of get to the Wraith spot. Do you guys want to touch on anything here? Anything else, Krysta? Do you have anything to add kind of to this initial area? Sure.
Well, real quick, if you want to know where the Spartans are during all of the Halo games, see Ghosts of Onyx and Glasslands.
Yeah.
Basically all you need to know on that front, if you're wondering. I do find it interesting that, like, on the back of CE, it does say that you're the last super soldier, which is a blatant lie.
Well,
How dare
it's an evolving
you,
story. Combat evolved, right?
But I totally stole the regular wraith. And
Oh, you did.
And I couldn't get it through the next area, and I was
So
really sad.
Did you hop on a ghost or not?
I hopped on the ghost and went up to that tower in the middle of the field and grabbed the sniper.
Yeah.
And just kind of picked everything up from there.
There's a sniper up. I didn't go up there. Okay.
Oh, I always
there's a
go there.
sniper and a missile launcher up there.
And a pod, or a rocket pod, like one of the
But mine
station.
despawned, so it was
Oh,
awful.
boo.
Yeah, it was. I think when I was killing the grunts and stuff, it must have fallen off of its thing and then just disappeared into the void, which I was kind of sad because I wanted to blow stuff up. The warthog actually took care of like 90% of the ghosts, so that was kind of nice.
Oh, nice.
And then I killed the anti-air wraith tank and went on to the regular one, and I got it, and I was victorious and happy until I realized that the door to the next area doesn't allow wraiths through, even though I tried my best. I tried to punch off those little wingies on each end to fit it through, but no.
That's amazing.
I spent a good 5 minutes trying to get that wraith through the door.
Trying to shove it through.
I just kept trying to I tried to do the technique where you just boost through the door until hopefully something gives. It did not work. Grunts were throwing grenades at me and stuff, so I had to abandon ship.
Oh, bummer.
Did your wraith blow up ever?
No, it was fine when I left it, and hopefully it's still there waiting for me. One day I can reclaim it.
Just holding the door open for you.
R.I.P. Wraith.
That's good. Did you notice, like, the anti-air wraith doesn't really pay attention to you? At least it didn't to me. It's just
it can't
peppering
really
those.
Kill you. Yeah.
Just peppering those hornets up top. If you
It
look
has
at the skybox.
It has a gunner, and the gunner will target you if you get too close. So I always snipe in first, and then you can board the anti-air wraith and have some fun. But
I would imagine the targeting system of the wraith is just not meant for small targets. It's meant for flying targets.
Yeah. Now, funny you should mention the skybox here because it's kind of weird. For example, you can use the power drain or an overcharged plasma shot to take down a hornet, but the player won't actually be able to fly or use the passenger seats. It's kind of weird.
Oh.
If you do it while fighting the scarab, you can stand on top of a hornet, and then the hornet will fly again. It will fly off with you standing on top of it, just to get you close enough to the scarab, which is kind of weird.
Unless you fall off and die.
Yeah. The Banshees at the anti-air defense gun fly around for no reason. They can be shot down for points, but sometimes one or two will shoot at the player for a second. If he manages to catch one in the power drain or use a plasma dristle on one of them, they can be boarded and the player can fly around the place. The player will, however, die if they pass beyond the map borders. So
interesting. I think it's this mission, and then there's another mission that you can actually get into the anti-air wraith tank. You have to do a crazy glitch to do it, but if you ever wanted to try it, look it up on YouTube, and you can kind of run around in it. The end.
We've seen hornets in Reach. Did we see hornets in 2?
No, they weren't hornets. They were falcons.
You had falcons in Reach.
Oh,
you didn't have hornets.
falcons in Reach. That's right.
Yeah, they were the inferior.
Hornets are only in 3, I think.
Yeah.
They only show up in 3.
Were they in ODST at all?
No.
Like some police hornets or anything like that?
No.
Nope. I don't think so. I think you just have pelicans.
Cool. Yeah, this is a good little area. There's a skull in here.
Oh.
If you do a little jumpy hoppy thing, you have to bring one of the warthogs over on top of those little structures in the middle. I don't know exactly what they are. The little round structures. One of the skulls is on top of there, so you gotta actually bring one of the warthogs over and hop on top of the warthog to get on top of that structure, and then there's the skulls in the middle there. And I'm forgetting. I didn't write down what skull it was, so apologies there.
They're like drainage pipes or something, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what they look like.
Yeah. All right, so then we do have some phantoms that kind of come in and drop a couple more ghosts and whatnot just to be annoying, but this area isn't too difficult. I mean, I feel like it becomes difficult if you don't take your time, but if you're smart and like what you guys said, you kind of snipe off, pick off as many people as you can from a distance and leave it so it's just maybe a couple ghosts and then just the race to deal with. You can get through it pretty easily. All right. Oh, one thing I'm just looking at my notes. I'm trying to get include as much dialogue, at least key dialogue, as possible. But before we got to the lake bed, there was a truth hologram, And I just want to kind of read. I like reading his little sermons, I guess is what they call them. So he says, "With my gentle encouragement, our Lord's holy relic springs to life. It is unfortunate that our enemies also bear witness to its glory, but soon their dull eyes will be closed, seared by the ring's unforgiving might."
That's cool.
That's pretty badass.
That's pretty badass.
All right, so now we get to the kind of a similar area here. We got to go through this next building, do a similar thing where we got to hop up above, and we got to hit that button again. But now we get joined by some drones, and it's.
I just moved on to the next area and didn't fight them.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I guess you could, couldn't you?
You can do that. Yeah.
What you have to do, and the only correct way to do this segment is to take the turret and pull it off. There's a plasma turret nearby. I think one of the brutes had a brute captains.
Oh yeah, because you can kind of go to the left and kill some guys up there. Yeah.
Yeah, run into that area, turn around and look up and watch all the drones spawn, and immediately shoot the turret. You get like a crazy amount of kills super fast. It's amazing. Seeing like Kilimanjaro pop and just kill Apocalypse and it's so good. It's so I do it every time.
That's where you get all your points from, just killing drones, huh?
Yeah. There's there's a rocket launcher and like an ammo pack in here and stuff like that. There's loads of kind of weapons scattered around this mission. It's great for that. But just so you know, pick up a rocket launcher here because it's hella fun.
Yeah, rocket launcher in this next area. But before we get there, little Cortana moment. She finally pops up. We didn't have her at all last mission.
Yeah.
It was
spooky, scary Cortana.
Mm-hmm. And she says, "I have defied gods and demons."
No, I am your sword and your shield.
Oh, is that the first one?
I think so, yeah.
Well, maybe
that's something
reversed.
Or maybe it was... No, I think it was the sword and shield and then gods and demons.
Okay. Well, one of them. So it's still... We talked about it's...
How does she know about the Pokemon games?
Gravemind.
Oh my god, Pokemon Sword and Shield confirmed! Cortana.
It's Gravemind, right? The whole time, right? We kind of talked about that. So Gravemind's in our brain.
So how it works is Gravemind isn't controlling Cortana per se, but he's making her perceive things.
Mm-hmm.
See Human Weakness from Halo Evolutions? It really kind of fills that gap in what happened to Cortana.
He's making
with
John
the
see
Gravemind.
things. That's the kind of point we're getting at.
Yeah.
Cool.
It is. I was right, Krysta.
Oh.
I have defied gods and demons, is what she says first.
Boo,
confirmed Halopedia. Take that.
And that's another Halsey quote, isn't it? Or is that a Gravemind quote?
I don't know. It feels like a Gravemind, but it could be Halsey too.
Halsey says some crazy stuff. We just read through Glasslands for Halo Book Club, and she's. I love Halsey. That book really kind of drags her through the mud, but she does have some kind of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
She's a crazy lady.
She is. All right, let's get on our mongoose. Let's hop on. So do you drive, right, or do you hop on the back with the rocket launcher, Krysta?
I tried so hard, guys, because you guys are talking about how much you love Marines and how cool it is to work with them. And, like, throughout this mission up till now, I was just ignoring them, and, like, they weren't even there. And then I'm like, you know what? To hell with it. I'm going to drive this mongoose, and we're going to just rip shit up.
Uh-huh.
And I drive up. The Marine instantly killed himself with the rocket launcher and flipped my mongoose over. And then I'm like, I'm just going to grab a chopper.
You only tried once?
Yeah, that was enough. I was like, I'm going to try it. And then the first shot he ever shot, he murdered himself. And I was just like,
Krysta.
You know what? That guy was an idiot, and I'm not going with anyone else. Because mongoose are made from paper mache. I could have died too.
Well, I had a different experience. David, did you have better luck?
Completely different experience. Because I rolled with my badass Marines, and they know me, Krysta. They respect me.
He would rather
that
die
I work hard for them
than me drive the mongoose. Apparently, he saw Chief driving the mongoose and immediately committed suicide.
I had some great fun in here with all these rocket launchered mongoose. It's so awesome. It's a cool sequence when you all kind of roll out and there's like 4 or 5. mongoose with rocket launcher dudes on the back, and you're like, this is gonna be carnage, and it is.
I feel like my guy did a good job shooting too. Like he was pretty accurate.
Me too. Yeah, I did. I had a good.
So
good
you
guy
guys
too.
get the good AI.
He took out the anti-air wraith like with a shot or two, if that. Like that thing went down pretty quick, and then he was pretty accurate on everything else. Any ghost that would fly by, he would take out, or when you zoom by, he would take out right away.
Yeah, they go for the phantoms as well, which I really liked. I thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they'll try and take a phantom out.
Yeah, this part is fun, just kind of zooming around. It's a big little playground here. There's you can hop off and kind of go up top. There's like these cranes that you can go up, right?
Yes,
you have
that's
some
where I
buttons
live.
that you can hit. Oh, did you go up there and snipe, Krysta?
Yeah, after abandoning the whole rocket launcher thing, I stole the Dead Marine's rocket launcher and just went up to the top of the crane and just sniped everything.
Yeah, there's some good there's rocket ammo up there and all that kind of stuff, and there's rocket pods that are anchored to the ground, so they have infinite ammo unless you break them off. I almost always kind of take the middle ground with the mongoose, and then I get off before the big reveal happens, and I sit on the pod and I wait for it.
Yeah, nice. Should we talk about the big reveal?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So, Scarab, take it out.
Scarab fight.
Oh, no!
The Scarab fight is awesome. I love how it's just go fight a Scarab. That's it. Like, you can do whatever you want here. I've done so many different combinations of fights. There's obviously the easy one, just sit on a rocket pod and spam it, and you can take it out depending on where it crashes. Sometimes you can get lucky and you can get in through the noose, as Krysta says. But like, it's fun just to like get a mongoose and go up the ramps. Like, they've made the level around it kind of rocky enough, and like a lot of ramps and stuff like that you can ramp up, and I love trying to ram a mongoose into it and all that kind of stuff. I love trying to board it via vehicles and stuff. You just have so much fun here, and you know how to take out a Scarab. Do you know what I mean? You have to either board it and go around to the anus and punch it. So you know what you've got to do. And it's just fun that they leave it open to you to do this and give you the tools, and then you just have fun. You just play in this little sandbox for a little while and take down the Scarab. It's super fun.
But this is the first Scarab we've fought in release order.
You
technically fight one in Halo 2.
Right, but you kind of don't, right? Don't you just punch the council on the inside?
Yeah, it's a different one. This one's actually made from the hunter worms.
Yeah, like Golo.
Yeah,
right?
So it's actually a sentient being.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. That's pretty rad. And you can see that, right, when you kind of get to the anus?
Yeah, when you're punching the anus, you can see around... So in the middle is this big kind of metal plate that you're punching, but on each of the, like... each of the angles, like an X, there's like the little threads, the little orange threads, tendrils of the worms, the Malek Golo, or the Lek Golo.
Yeah, the Malek Golo is the big guy.
Yeah.
There.
So it's interesting. It is a sentient being. It's pretty cool.
That's cool to think about.
And you murder it. You murder it with rage.
Murder the hell out of it.
The setup, we didn't really talk about it, but Johnson talks about there's being something big on the radar, and then he finally does say Scarab. I feel like it could have used a little better presentation. I mean, it's cool that this Scarab like climbs over the building, but the audio and like the Johnson's reaction isn't like, oh my god, it's a Scarab, we got to take that thing out. You know, it's just like, Scarab, take it out,
murder it.
Like, okay, we'll get on that. They could have done a little bit more intense, and that's what, again, kind of why playing this again is like, maybe a little treatment, maybe a little once over could be useful in Halo 3. But you know, I do love this game in general. So this is a fun fight. Definitely enjoy this. Like David said, you could do it all sorts of different ways. Have fun. When I took mine out, it didn't trigger the pelicans right away, so I was just driving it, like walking around, like the door was closed that we're supposed to go through. I'm like, what is going on? And finally, I drove back all the way down to the Scarab, and there was one brute that was alive somehow. One brute survived.
You have to kill everything in the area.
Mm-hmm. So he was just hanging out somewhere in the wreckage of the Scarab, and when I finally took him out, then that's when it triggered the pelicans to come in.
How did you do the Scarab?
Me?
Yeah.
I actually had my rocket guy. Yeah, I had my Marine.
You still had your mongoose.
I had my mongoose. I just drove around in the circle, and I think I died maybe once or twice, but I hit a checkpoint somewhere along the lines where the scarab was, in the arena. And yeah, he was able to just take down some of the legs, and I just hopped up there and didn't have any problems. I remember one of the first times I played it, because like it is intimidating. Like if you don't know what you're doing, you're like, oh my god, how am I going to take this thing down? You do get the hint eventually, like to take out the legs. I forget if it's probably a Marine that
I think it's Johnson.
Yeah,
I think it's Johnson calls it. Take out the legs.
But I do remember trying to jump onto it from the cranes. I thought that's how I had to do it.
Yeah,
but he never gets really close to the cranes.
Well, you can do it, but if you jump on it from the crane and it's up and moving around, you're not going to actually be able to hit it. But once it's down, once you hit one of the legs, then you can jump. Because that's how I've always gone through and done this. Not always, but this is my default approach to this scarab. I sit up on the crane with a rocket launcher and a sniper, and I snipe everything off the top, hit the leg, and then drop down onto the scarab.
Well, I wanted to like jump onto the scarab from the crane. Is that possible, or does he ever get close enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he just can't. He just has to have one of the legs wounded for you to actually be able to land on it. I always try to land on it with him walking around, but
me too.
I think there's a weird barrier or something. It just doesn't let me do it.
It's doable.
It's doable.
I've definitely done it more times than I can count. I've just not going for the legs and trying to jump on it as it's moving and then take it out, because I think that's a way cooler, way more dynamic of a fight than trying to cripple it and then board it. So you can, but it's definitely...
It's difficult because it's moving around a lot.
Yeah, sometimes the physics in Halo is weird, and if it moves at the same time that you're moving and you collide, sometimes you'll splatter, sometimes you'll rocket straight up into the sky through the game. I've done that numerous times where like his leg just moves at the right time to kind of bat me away, and it's just gone, we go flying. There's some cool moments from doing things like that.
It's a great fight. It's awesome. The thing is huge. It's enormous. So actually taking it down feels super good. When they finally get that explosion. One of the Marines does say at some point, like once you have like you're punching or shooting or grenading or whatever, the anus, they do say get out of there, it's gonna blow up, and then you kind of hear that warning signal. So you do hop out, but if you don't hop out, you will die, right? Like you'll
blow up.
You'll go down with it. So
it's an impressive explosion.
Yeah, it's really nice to watch.
Feels very
always
good.
Very satisfying.
Now we got to go back up to the kind of where those rocket pods are and head up to the. I guess it's if you're facing it, you kind of go to the right, and there's a door that finally opens, and there's like some workers in there, and there's some guys that are sick and not feeling so hot, and so you go through this area to get to the next spot, and this is where we get our second Cortana moment, and this is where she says, "I am your shield, I am your sword." Is that from one of the books too? Or did we talk about these? These are all from the books, or are they kind of picking and choosing things later on?
No, I think only certain ones are from the books.
Yeah.
In the specific missions, these ones, I'm not sure they could be original quotes.
I feel like it's something Cortana actually says to like Chief or something.
Yeah,
it could be, but it feels like I guess you don't necessarily need the context of the books to appreciate. I think they did a good job picking these two quotes and making her feel like she's not herself, like she's, you don't really know what rampancy is if you're, not in the books, but we've talked about it. It almost feels like she is kind of losing her mind, right? She's kind of saying, "Oh, I'm like this demon, defeating AI, but then I'm also fighting for you." It's kind of it's interesting to hear her thought processes, I guess, at least the thought process that you're hearing from her.
Yeah, there's before that, which is weird, and I never noticed it before. It's only from looking this up. You can inspire the troops. So after you take out the Scarab and you head indoors, you have all these guys. You encounter a bunch of Traxxas workers and Marines, some of whom are injured or frightened. If you walk up to them and kind of touch off them, the worker or soldier will go through like an animation where they'll shake off their fright, slowly stand up, they'll grab a pistol, and then they'll follow you into the next portion of the map.
That's
and
cool.
I've never realized that before. Like, I've definitely never done it. I normally breeze through this area. Sometimes I've kind of looked around and there's a bunch of ammo packs and you can change out weapons here and stuff, or ammo racks. But I've never really inspired the troops or gone over or done anything. I just think that's an awesome little touch.
Huh, that's weird.
Yeah, I
Also-
forgot. Go ahead.
Also, Arbiter just randomly shows up.
Well, he's off the Pelican. He hops off the Pelican.
It's just like, surprise, Arbiter. I've been taking a
Hey.
nap and now I feel great. And you're like, okay, Arbiter.
Yeah, I wonder why they were saving him for now. I don't know.
They just they wanted him at the end of this mission for the cutscene.
Yeah, but if you're playing 2 players, Arbiter's there, right?
He's there
'Cause
through the
second
entire
player.
thing. It's weird
Yeah.
because when you play it just single player and and you've played it so many times with Arbiter always there with you, it's weird to see him like come and go throughout the entire campaign. He's very wishy-washy. He can't decide whether he wants to hang out with you or not. He keeps
Well, he's
changing
just-
his mind.
He's just been converted, so,
He's just
a little
like,
break.
this Master Chief guy's kind of weird. He's kind of like ignoring all the Marines, even though they're crying. I mean, that's not a very nice guy. And then he kind of leaves. Then you're like, blow up a scarab, and he's like, that Master Chief guy's not bad. He
All
blew
right.
up a scarab.
I could see myself hanging out with this guy.
Yeah.
The workers actually do in this next area. They're armed and they fight with you, which is pretty cool. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they got like the crappy pistols.
I know.
Now, if they had the Halo 1 pistols, we would have totally won.
That's right. Yeah, they have their hard hats on and they're ready to fight. So let's go kill some more brutes in this area. This is like a I don't know what we call this, kind of the
It's like a loading dock. It's got all
loading
shipping
dock.
crates and stuff around it. It's a really cool fight. I love fighting through this.
Yeah, this is good. So lots of brutes and whatnot, and they have their gear like they usually do. There's a lot of those the energy drains, I think, kind of in this area.
Yeah, there is.
They use
The
those quite a bit.
Energy drains and solar flares, the two things I like the least.
Yeah, they use those, and then you proceed through, and you finally get to a pair of hunters. A pair of hunters come rushing through the door here.
And they kill like 7 workers on their way in.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. Kind of sad times, but they're actually not too bad because there's not really a place for them to kind of get behind you. They're just kind of right in front of you, and yeah, this hunter fight isn't very hard, if you ask me. I didn't have any trouble.
Yeah, you should have a rocket launcher if you're at this moment. Like,
yeah, that's true. And I think I took them out with just 1 rocket. I don't think it takes much for them, at least on
not a normal
heroic. Was this heroic? And it was still.
Ooh,
I think it was
that
1
good.
rocket, maybe 2, but I don't know. They went down pretty quick. Anything to add before we kind of get to this next this last little area here? Nothing.
Not really. No, it's a
Alright.
great fight. I mean, I killed a lot of workers with my
Oh, did
rocket
you?
launchers. Yeah,
No.
I really did. Well, there's like there's an excellent moment where like you kind of when you first enter the room, you fight a couple of brutes and they're in the middle of fighting Marines, and then when you push up a little bit forward, like a scripted event happens where all these workers come running around a corner and all these brutes come right around after them, and it's just like there's like 4 or 5 brutes just in a clustered area, and you have to shoot a rocket launcher at them.
No.
You just can't not like, and it just kills all the workers around them. But I'm just like, I can't refuse the money shot.
How
do
could
you know
you
what I mean?
be so heartless, David?
I know. It's not like me.
But you don't get negative points for workers, right? For killing the workers.
That's an excellent question. I don't think so.
You must
I don't know.
Otherwise, you
you
wouldn't do it.
You probably do. You probably do.
At least my guy killed himself. I didn't have to kill him.
Krysta, don't act like you don't murder those Marines for their ammunition.
I mean, what if they have a BR and I don't have one?
Exactly. Even though the game gives you a button, the ability to swap.
But I want it now.
Can you give the workers a better gun? Can you give them AR?
Oh, I've never tried. I don't think so. I think
But
you
you're
can
the
only swap with
master of
Marines.
that, David.
That's true, but I never armed the workers.
Let's try that next time. I doubt you
Yeah.
can. I'm pretty sure they probably just are only supposed to have that pistol.
Yeah, probably.
So once you kill the hunters, depending on if you killed all your workers or not, you can have a nice little crew running with you into this last little area. You do have to kind of weave in and out of a couple, I don't know, fences and things like that. There is a hologram, another truth hologram. So he's preaching back here. I'll read that really quick. He says, "Take heart, my brothers. Only our enemies should fear this raging storm." And then darkened skies and lashing fire are all that remain oh, hold on a second. All that remains for them when we, the worthy, have passed beyond.
So Arbiter totally like shut that off when I was there.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like, I don't want to hear this shit anymore.
Yeah, he interacts with them. It's really cool to see him like silence and all this kind of stuff. Like he throws out comments. There's also a brute captain here, so
we forgot about
take down. Yeah,
there's a chieftain too.
There's a chieftain back there. Yeah, we forgot to mention him. Yeah, he's got his big old.
The one with the hammer and invincibility. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got the invincibility.
Oh, you did?
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Nice.
I always get the invincibility because I go for the head.
Nice.
You should have gone for the head. Yeah.
Good for you. Nice reference.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
So where do you use it?
I used it at the very end with the AA gun because there's a lot of brutes, and then I just punched them to death.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very
Probably
nice.
felt good.
I enjoyed it.
I do like so you come around this corner here and you see we saw this gun kind of in the distance in the last little lake bed area, but this giant anti-air, what do they call it, anti-air cannon that's just peppering your hornets and just taking down all of your air defenses. So
It's
that's
amazing.
the final target, and yeah, it looks awesome.
This sequence of like you charging, taking a hill, and like trying to fight like up this hill up to this like the semi kind of fortified point. It's such a cool moment, and the game gives you like all these kind of weapons. There's a sniper rifle kicking around here. There's a BR. There's like a turret and everything, and it's just like I always sit and snipe, but like if you sit too long, all the Marines and workers will charge up the hill by themselves, and I thought it's really kind of cool to kind of support them if you can and just watch their charge up. Now they get slaughtered to fuck when they get to the top, because there's all kinds of brutes there with like rail fuel rod cannons and everything, like, you know, so there is only death.
Yeah, they don't last very long. Yeah, it's a good point. It's cool that like kind of like taking the hill moment. I like that. That's good reference there. The turret I feel like is kind of overpowered. It's nice to have that turret down there, but I just kind of popped on that turret and just cleared out as much of that first wave as possible, then yanked that off and head up the hill. Krysta, what'd you do?
I sniped everyone.
Just
and I punched everyone. Yeah.
From a distance, nice. I actually didn't really. I got around the corner to where the AA gun exposes itself, and that little white orb scrotum thing that it pops out.
Oh
and
my gosh!
I just shot that.
Yeah.
I didn't take out all the brutes. I just did that.
Yeah,
I
and
just
that'll
let
trigger
the
the
brutes
cutscene.
be in the distance. So
I've never done that. I've always taken the hill, but yeah, you're right. You can totally probably take it out from a considerable distance.
Mm-hmm.
And once you blow it up, it just triggers the cutscene, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. The brutes must die because of the explosion. I don't know, but it's all over with at that point.
And the Master Chief miraculously teleports right underneath the turret for the cutscene.
Yeah, exactly. It's very nice. Anything else to cover before we get to the cutscene? This cutscene's pretty cool.
One of the best cutscenes.
Yeah, feels pretty good. Why don't you, Krysta, do you want to do it since you like it so much?
Sure, I really like this one. So you end up taking out the AA gun, and Lord Hood's like, "All right, guys, we're going in." You see all of the what are they called? The
frigates.
The frigates and the one that you took off the ring in Halo 1.
The broadswords?
Broadswords, yeah. You see like 20 broadswords, and then you see like 4 frigates along with Forward Unto Dawn, and they're just shooting, and you're like, oh my goodness, we're gonna win. And then you start seeing the construct start moving and like opening.
Well, and they all fire, right? So they
all fire.
Empty their payload. It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything, and of course they're gonna go. Well, the first Mac round never does anything with a Covenant ship. We should all know that by now. It's like the second or third one that actually can penetrate the hull. Mm-hmm. So, the first barrage is always just to weaken the shields when doing air combat in Halo. But before they can even get ready for the next one, this construct starts opening, and we see these huge like pillars start opening into the sky, and stuff starts crumbling. There's shockwaves. And then a big boom.
Yeah.
And then this is the way the world ends.
Mm-hmm. And this is huge. Like, this thing is massive. Like, these giant ships
bigger
are like
than
inside
a city.
of this thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
huge.
the scale of this is kind of lost, but you kind of have to think about it like it's ginormous when you think of the size of the ships.
Well, it's taken them a month to uncover this thing. So
yeah.
Yeah, so you see the dreadnought go underneath, because the dreadnought's like the key, right? And it just kind of like sinks into the ground, and everything starts opening up, and then you see a giant bolt of light go up into the sky, and then it blinds you temporarily, and I think it releases an EMP of some kind, because all the ships are dead in the water at that point.
I think it's kind of gravity.
Gravity.
They all, because the ships don't just crash down. Do you know what I mean? They all kind of float off listlessly, so I don't think it's quite EMP, but they're all heavily distorted. And you see all the kind of ships being kind of pushed away / pulled back a little bit and stuff. It's kind of cool. It's very impressive.
It's very, very cool. And so everyone's panicking, like, did he set off the halos? What did Truth just do? No one knows, but there's a big thing in the sky. And then we see another thing in the sky.
it's a big. Well, what's this big thing though? It's like a big black hole.
It's a
thing?
portal. Yeah, you see the dreadnought fly up into it and go through it.
Which is most likely why there was such a distortion with the ships, because opening a portal literally the size of like 7 cities is going to distort space-time a little bit and distort the physics around you, because they explain this in the Forerunner books of how the Forerunner portals work, but to take an object through a portal does distort space-time. Like when they were transporting the halos, they couldn't do them all at once just because space-time couldn't handle all the distortion of moving such a huge object like light years across the galaxy. But so it's interesting how that works and to kind of see it happen. So
and all the other ships go inside as well.
Yeah,
so
all the Covenant ships go straight into this portal and disappear.
And that's like I guess in their minds, like they don't really know what's on the other side. So this is like the start of their great journey, right? Like there's the big portal, let's go.
They have an
this
idea.
Is the journey.
They have an idea because they've been talking about the object on the other side, but they don't know exactly
well, I guess
what's
Regret knew what
them.
it was. We've talked about that. So
they found luminaries that tell them what it was and how to get there. Now this object can't be accessed through normal means of travel. It pretty much has to be exclusively accessed by this portal, which is why they came to Earth and didn't just go straight towards the object.
Yeah.
But we see another object. It's an object we don't like very much. It's a very strange Covenant ship because it's got yellow-green stuff coming out of it.
Gross.
And we know what yellow-green stuff means.
Uh-oh. Our friends?
Our bestest friends. They followed us all the way from High Charity because they missed us so much. And they've landed on Earth.
It's impressive to show that they slip space jump into the atmosphere. Like they just come straight into the planet. No messing about. Thought it was kind of cool.
Which that's pretty crazy just because the slip space technology at the time and even the Covenant slip space technology is very unreliable. You can't, like, if you want to go towards Earth, you're probably going to end up more towards like Jupiter. Just because it's very imprecise. So like jumping in atmosphere is pretty crazy.
Covenant are way better.
The Covenant are way better.
They can do that reliably.
Are they pinpoint accuracy?
They're more reliable, but then
they're very good. There's
it's
there's
not
different.
As good as, but the Infinity that comes later in the game has the Forerunner drives, and that's like a total game changer because it's pinpoint accuracy. I don't think Covenant was pinpoint.
There is certain things in like different kind of books and stuff that show you like Covenant doing amazing things with slip space jumps. So like one of the Atriox comics had a supercarrier slip space jump almost kind of a few feet in front of itself, and the only reason it did that, like that pinpoint slip space jump, was to create the massive barrage of EMP that comes out afterwards. So like it didn't have any weapons, but it was totally surrounded by ships. So what it did was just slip space jump a few feet in space and created a huge like shockwave out that decimated like the fleet around it, and then it slip space jumped away again. So they have far better control over that than they're not bad, like not at all.
So we see from ODST and Halo 2 what happens when you do a jump in atmosphere. Was the flood just high enough in orbit that it didn't have the huge shockwave?
That's a good point.
Or it did, and the portal
it was far enough away
it.
or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, it is kind of in the distance when they pop in.
So I
was wondering if the fact that the Grave Mine knows so much, maybe that helped with the atmosphere jump.
Could be. He knows how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure he has Forerunners assimilated in him, so I'm sure they know the calculations of how to do the slip space jump properly.
Yeah.
But we see the ship enter atmosphere. It's decrepit. It's floody. Goes right over our heads. And the Arbiter's like, "What was that?" And he's like, "Not something pretty bad. You better button up those bootstraps, Arbiter. You gotta do some work now. No more naps."
Yep. That's right. I mean, the Arbiter knows the flood.
He does know the flood, yeah. I'm not sure why he didn't realize it and Chief did at this instance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Chief does have technically... No, because Arbiter was at the Battle of Installation 04 as well, so they both have pretty much the same track record when it comes to the flood.
Yeah, true. Yeah, RP was fighting flood too.
So, who knows, but... It's a really good cutscene. It really outlines all the crazy stuff that's happening in Halo 3, and this is where the game truly begins.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, think about the position here is they just opened the portal to the Ark, and the Covenant's gone, and we need to chase them, but, the Flood are here, so we have to deal with them first. Like, we have to deal with them
because
first.
They will eat the entire planet.
Mm-hmm.
You see how quickly they spread in on High Charity and Installation 04, and for them to be on Earth is potentially catastrophic.
Yep.
Yeah, and you pretty much don't want to go too far ahead, but the next mission kind of covers that pretty well.
One spore can destroy an entire species.
Good quote, Krysta.
It's a really good quote. I always remember that one because he just bangs his fist on the desk, and that's something I really enjoy about people speaking, like when they bang their fist on stuff. Yeah,
because that's very authoritative.
These are serious. What I will just say before we kind of move on to kind of the wrap up, if you look at the name of the UNSC frigates firing on the forward dreadnought, all of them say Forward Unto Dawn, and the ship's numbers are all the same as well.
Wait a second.
Yeah. Furthermore, on close observation of the cutscene, one can see that one frigate actually fires its Mach gun twice. This may actually be possible since their smaller ships like the Pillar of Autumn had the capability of firing multiple rounds per charge. But I think it's just a kind of glitch because they reused some assets there in that cutscene. There you go.
They mentioned Forward Unto Dawn earlier, like right at the beginning of the mission. They talk about the Forward Unto Dawn chimes in or something like that and talks to Lord Hood. So they do drop that name.
It's one ship though.
It is one ship, yeah.
And for some miraculous reason, the Forward Unto Dawn cloned itself for a brief moment in Halo history for them to be like 5 Forward Unto Dawns at once. The portal, of course, nullified it because cloning technology cannot live up to Forerunner technology portal stuff. So... Exactly. Space magic nullifies cloning.
Well said, Krysta.
All right, we're getting goofy. Let's end this. We have some community questions. Was there any other trivia points that you wanted to bring up?
That's it. I think I got everything I wanted in there.
Nice work. Very nice. All right, so we have Facebook and Discord. I don't know if you guys have it up yet. I can stall.
I got Discord. Okay.
Nice work, guys.
I know. We're ready. It's like, we know now. We don't want to sit here on our phones for 10 minutes.
Which one's funnier? I think Discord's funnier. I think. So let's start with Facebook. This is the warm-up act.
Poor Facebook.
How dare you diss my Facebook peeps. How dare you. So on Facebook, Colin Perkins, 6th of May at 8:23 p.m. give the Covenant Scarab a better name. Open brackets, question for mission debrief -- the storm episode, close brackets. And we have 9 comments. Andy Worth says dung beetle, which is accurate and pretty good. Timothy Wells says this is a cicada, isn't it?
Cicada? Yeah.
Cicada, yeah. It's like a locust type of thing, isn't it?
It's a very annoying bug.
Yeah. Matthew says catidid. I don't know what that is.
It's another bug thing.
Is it? It's a bug thing. I thought it might be a bug thing.
So many bug things on Facebook.
A lot of them.
They're very serious, this Facebook.
Alan Sadesh, they're accurate. They know their business. Leave them alone, Colin. I'm hating on my Facebook people. What I don't get is why all the Covenant vehicles have ghost spirit names: Ghost, Banshee, Wraith, Spectre, but the giant tank that destroys cities is named after a bug. It always rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah. Anyway, that's why my vote for Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That's pretty funny.
Stay Puft, nice.
James Whitmar says, oh my god, Carter's landing pad. That's mean.
Ooh.
James.
That's amazing.
It's also not a spoiler because we've already done that.
That's true. James says Johnson's Key, which is pretty good, which is a callback to Halo 2.
Yeah.
Matthew says tough but ain't invincible, which is another quote from Johnson from Halo 2. It's pretty cool. Brad Tharp says spiky feet McGlazer face, which is,
yeah,
Bodie McBo's face. Yeah.
Yeah, Bodie McBo's face.
What a great tribute.
Yeah, I like my Facebook people.
They're clever.
Very
Better
nice.
Stupid Discord people.
They're
anyway.
clever. Let's see what these Discord people have to say.
Oh, they're great. They're some of my favorite people. So, admin Colin yesterday at 3:24 p.m. asked, "Give the Covenant Scarab a better name." Open parentheses, question for mission debrief - the storm episode, close parentheses. So Master G97 says Crab Demon or Mama Longlegs.
Good.
Physical Sky says Rocket Whore or Mongoose Mangler.
Oof.
Very nice. Elson94 says Worms Galore. Min says the Not So Concrete Donkey.
I don't get that.
No, that's over my head. Concrete donkey.
Matt says Daddy Longlegs. Not enough legs. They're long though. Redacted 17 says Purple Alien Boat with Legs and a Gun. Very
That's
nice.
Good. I like that one.
Min says the fucker that killed Carter and for that it must die.
Whoa.
Jesus.
2 Carter references. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
didn't
very
expect
nice.
that at all. That's good.
This is one of my favorites. Goalie Sniper says Purple AT8. Purple at AT.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Star Wars. And Brotherly Duck says Walkie McLaserface. I think we got that.
That sounds familiar.
So, yeah, it sounds very familiar. So we submitting stuff twice. Interesting theory.
Very nice.
And that's it.
That's good. Do you guys? How do you feel about the Scarab name? Do you feel it fits? I mean, to the point. I forget who made the point, but there's all this ghosty, wraithy kind of spirit stuff. And we got the Scarab. We got this big bug.
I think it's cool. I think it is. It immediately gives you the image of what it is, before you even see it. When someone says a scarab, a walking tank.
Okay, so
that's cool.
This is what it means. So I'm gonna educate you guys real quick.
Okay.
So the scarab while being an actual dung beetle that rolls balls of shit. He's actually in the Egyptian religion, he was actually the symbol of immortality, resurrection, transformation, and protection, and used mostly in a funeral art. So he does have some mythical properties in the Egyptian religion, which I think does kind of connect it to the ghost and the wraith and stuff like that. The scarab, immortality, death, stuff like that.
I'm good with it now. I like it.
Yeah, so transformation.
So thought was put into this, is what you're saying.
Yeah. There's people way smarter than us, apparently.
That's cool.
Good. All right. Shit's going down. Things are happening. Let's fix it. In the next mission. We're going to fix it all. All right. That'll do it for our debriefing of the Storm mission from Halo 3. On the next episode, we'll be covering Floodgate. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet. Podcast Evolved on Twitter. Until next time, evolved.
Evolved.
Evolved.